Okay, I think we're good. Yeah, okay. Right. I need to... There we go. Right, there we go. Back on... Just trying to... Okay, so just... That one... Oh, sorry, I'm trying to just... This to do. Right.
Let us not dawdle.
That was still there. Yeah, okay. I just can't remember where anything is. Collect already?
We should deal with this.
There it is. There we go. One.
Is there money to be made?
Thing. Okay. Return here for the minute, and guess do the thing with our new companion. Yep. Good. Skip the intro scene. Okay. I mean, different sort of interaction, I guess. Let's see, where about does he lurk up here on the bridge? Some new comments.
Janitor Febris's mind is so multifaceted. Azure, cobalt, indigo. How great is his drive to understand the workings of this world. But somewhere inside, in the very substance of all this blue, there is a cocoon of terracotta that holds within it some grievous feeling. It almost eludes my sight, but it absorbs all other hues. And sooner or later, it will consume them all, leaving nothing behind.
Oh, there he is.
Magos biologus Eurystheus octo rebido declaimed. Every organism naturally born, flesh from flesh, knows fear. But the supreme terror of an organic organism is invariably evoked by the threat of annihilation. I have pondered this a great deal. Do death and terror define our existence from the very beginning? Like a kind of fate, a raised blade since our conception that governs our lives. Rogue Trader, do you
I think his design
fear
shows
death?
2 guns and I think he only hits 1.
For it is what spurs us to do the things that give life meaning and dignity. You are a brave woman, Rogue Trader. Thank you for indulging my curiosity. Now it is your turn to select the topic of conversation. But can anyone truly know the essence of another person? For a veil of words often shrouds meaning that cannot be discovered in one brief conversation.
Yeah.
Then again, all
Don't even
the
recall
greatest
the
works
model
on
he's
human
based on
nature
having a
began
gun up
with
there.
scant material. Ask your questions, Rogue Trader. Stygies 8 is a forge world located on one of the moons of a gas giant in the binary star system of Vulcanus. A magnificent place. Stretching from horizon to horizon, mighty manufactorums crisscross the moon's surface, producing armaments and equipment. For the armies of the Segmentum Solar, the designs and patterns we produce are unequaled in the galaxy.
Well, I think there's one forge world that makes things better. That would be
Titans
Mars.
of the Legio Honorum
but,
tower over cohorts of Skitari, making ready to escort countless expeditions, ravenous for knowledge and lost technology. And beneath them, deep within the moon itself, lies a labyrinth of archives and laboratories, where many sages cultivate knowledge and conduct experiments in the name of understanding the will of the machine god.
Stagnation is the enemy of knowledge. You
Nuncius
lot
and I
are
spent
stagnant.
our adolescence and
comes to
part of
technology.
our adulthood there, before we were permitted to leave our cells for the cabins of expedition ships and the tents of field camps. I miss my home, but I do not regret leaving it. For stagnation is the enemy of knowledge. No, not all. The robes of tech priests often vary from world to world. They're imbued with symbolism that reflects the principles of a particular branch of the tech priesthood. Red is the color of Mars. It is present in the robes of each world as an homage to the Red Planet. White symbolizes the purity of machines and sacred augmetics. One is compelled to carry a certain stigma living on Styges 8. Certain theological disputes often lead to conflict with our fellow clergy. Black symbolizes our guardedness and otherness, while with red we emphasize the purity of our faith in the Omnissiah and our fellowship with the rest of the cult Mechanicus. The tech priests of Styges 8 are most dogged in their acquisition of samples of xenotechnology. Under our doctrine, any methods used to gain an advantage over the enemies of humanity are justified, so long as they do not cross the line into heresy. As you may have guessed, where exactly that line lies has been the subject of debate and discord for centuries. This means that we are often compelled to ensure a certain level of secrecy in our work, which only increases suspicions about our world. But for the sake of the Imperium's victory, we are prepared to live with this stigma. That is an incontrovertible fact. I have dedicated my life to many questions. The blessings of the fusion of organics and machines, the search for virtue in their separate existence, the possibility of prolonging the functioning of flesh through genetics and alchemy. The machine god is perfect in all his manifestations. This is the truth and an incontrovertible fact. But it seems to me that attempts to become like him exclusively through augmetics, though good in their righteousness, do not fully reflect his design. For the organic body is nothing but a biological machine whose components can be replaced and improved by genetic transmutation. I believe the truth lies somewhere between these two paths, and both lead to my ultimate goal, my magnum opus, to challenge death itself as a phenomenon, bringing humanity closer to the eternity of the Omnissiah. I may not look it, but I am a wanderer and a pilgrim. Nuncius and I have led research expeditions with the aim of finding relics and artifacts and advancing the quest for knowledge.
I hope we don't have too many
to
more
learn
of these
from my
because,
colleagues at every opportunity.
you know, these do chew
developing
up
my
time.
expertise in genetics, hermetics, and augmetics.
I think there's like
We have
4
visited
more
more
companions.
than one world, voyaged on more than one ship, and got our hands dirty more than once, both literally and
The only
figuratively.
companion, we have 1 DLC companion left, and the rest are all base game companions.
Many secrets lie within that blessed temple fortress. I spent decades there, but still I am not certain that I discovered all of them. However, the station's clergy are not known for their insularity for nothing. They are quite reluctant to make contact with the laity, or even other tech priests. Nuncius and I were lucky that our skills were in demand, and we were able to ensconce ourselves in that fountain of wisdom. Alas, the doctrine of isolation and the intransigence of several colleagues had brought my research to a standstill, and so I seized the opportunity to join your retinue. No, Nuncius. I was not trying to hide anything from the rogue trader. I only reasoned that the squabbles of tech priests would scarcely be of interest to her. A disagreement arose with the cloister's arch-chemist, Tekla Paradigm 13. She stubbornly refused to understand the importance of my research and would not authorize access to the sacrarium of alchemical reagents. Since her arguments were invalid and her theoretical basis flawed, I decided to disregard her prohibition and grant myself access. I acted discreetly to ensure that my colleague would not discover my requisitioning of the reagents. That is, until work stopped in one of the Capellae Biologus, where there was a regrettable incident involving a group of servitors I had been experimenting on. Such a fuss over just a few controlled mutations. If Tekla Paradigm 13 had approached research with the same zeal she applied to making my life on the station more difficult, she could have been useful for something. Unfortunately, that was not the case. I decided to leave the station at the earliest opportunity, so as not to jeopardize my and Nuncius's efforts. That opportunity turned out to be you. The Omnissiah's providence did not bring us together. The temple is quite vast, and it is no surprise that two learned men never once crossed paths. After all, each of us is blessed with our own function, and fulfilling that function is a solitary effort. Really? My dearest colleague states that Magos Haneman and I once passed each other in Service Conduit 91-R. The esteemed Magos chided me for some minor neglect in the presentation of my augments, after which, having each voiced our opinions, we parted ways. It seems I considered this event to be inconsequential, and it has escaped my memory. As has mine. Question.
I'm sorry.
To think that all tech priests speak exclusively like machines is a widespread misconception among the laity. We may strive to draw closer to the machine god, but we remain part of the human race. How exactly a tech priest achieves this oneness is the choice of each individual ordained in the priesthood of Mars, depending largely on personal characteristics, practical considerations, and interpretations of the tenets of the faith. Of course, many attune their language to machine cant or even prefer not to use flesh speak at all. It is then easier for them to make contact with machine spirits. For myself, however, a key aspect of the machine god is his omniscience. I gather wisdom, and that includes from communicating with laypersons. To this end, standard low Gothic has so far proved to be the most useful. However, this does not negate the fact that I am able to speak all the binaric dialects of Mars, if circumstances so demand. I can only encourage such a thirst for knowledge. Ask away. A difficult question, and thus an interesting one. From the perspective of the cult Mechanicus, augmentation is an unalloyed good. Flesh is weak, and replacing it brings us closer to the Omnissiah. But this good is also a
such
supreme
the Iron
privilege.
Hands are
Every
obsessed
augmetic
about.
is a man-made miracle that glorifies the machine god. And not every layperson is worthy of such a blessing. The majority of laypersons who have lost limbs or organs are at best furnished with the most rudimentary prosthetics, if any at all. The exceptions are those who hold key posts in the Imperium, or who cannot perform their duties without replacing their organics with more efficient equivalents. And naturally, there are exceptional individuals, such as rogue traders, who can afford the best augments at the wave of their hand. Or rather, its loss. Just think about it. You are one of untold billions, and you succeeded in becoming a statistical improbability. How could one perceive anything in these metaphysical mathematics but the design of the machine god? I have a great many of them, and most possess rather esoteric functions that are difficult to explain to a layperson. The most obvious is the galvanic cell. My hull is quite heavy, so it is supported by a gravitic core, mechadendrites, of course, an alembic with an alchemical synthesizer, auxiliary cogitators, an eye with magnifiers and analyzers, a respiratory... My dearest colleague suggests that my answer is becoming tiresome. If you are curious, I would be pleased to attempt to compose a treatise on my construction, but the more difficult task will be to give it a form comprehensible to a layperson. With a suitable source of motive force to redistribute, I could light up the lumens of an entire deck rogue trader. However, I do hope that is not the only application you will find for my talents.
Yeah, that's what we're going to use you
If my
for.
physiognomy offends you, there is no need to hide it behind feigned interest. However, I will answer on the hypothesis that your question is sincere. My face looks as it does because that is how I prefer it. A Vox grill is practical, but there is something about speaking my thoughts aloud via an organic vocal apparatus. Consider it my little extravagance. Besides, appearances are deceiving. My internals have been extensively augmented, and I am fully fluent in lingua technis and binaric. My dearest colleague amply meets all other communication needs. My dearest colleague is incredibly flattered by the attention. Please, ask your questions. He is my dearest colleague and indispensable assistant. A superb question. It is quite difficult to explain to a layperson, but I will try. To put it quite crudely, Nuncius helps me to think. He constitutes an exceptionally complex network of algorithms that augment my own. They contain conflicting points of view that seek out flaws in my reasoning, and information that is more useful to me if it is not kept in my own head. So I delegate it to him. He is wholly unique. Are you truly asking me if I have violated one of the Omnissiah's core commandments as blithely as if you were asking to borrow my stylus? No. 1,000 times no. How could such a thing even be wrought from a single servo skull? A wicked mind of that caliber would require a receptacle of significant cogitational potential. I am deeply outraged by this insinuation, and simultaneously flattered by your assessment of my skills. My dearest colleague asks me to convey that he does not share my strong emotions, and humbly apologizes for this outburst. He also swears before the machine god that he was created according to all the canons of sacred engineering, and that he is not a sacrilegious perversion of his design. We have shared a cell since our novitiate on Styges 8. 138 planetary cycles and 72 days have elapsed since then. It may not be accurate in a temporal sense, but you could say we have been together my whole life. I will take it upon myself to interpret his words, but I beg your pardon in advance for falling far short of my dearest colleague in terms of rhetorical elegance. Yes. Your presumption is incorrect. Nuncius is really rather chatty and holds strong views on every conceivable topic, which he does not hesitate to express at the first opportunity. Alas, you, as a layperson, are unable to hear his fiery declarations and witty remarks. Nuncius categorizes this fact as regrettable. Yes, Nuncius, I will relay it verbatim. He says that I possess a remarkable mind and excellent practical skills, but
I still don't know if this guy is actually talking about Servo Skull or
especially
what
combined with
cybernetics
my
have gone a bit crazy in his head.
stubbornness to the point of ossification would have stunted my development were it not for his thoughtful advice and fair criticism. He also adds that the thought of working with anyone other than me evokes repulsion and outrage in him. The value coefficient of our relationship is extremely high in his catalogue. Oh, Nuncius, what an appalling thing to say. Our partnership is perfectly equal. Keep your mischief-making to yourself and don't mislead the rogue trader. That cannot be right. That often. Yes, Nuncius, I would be obliged if you would assist in monitoring my vocabulary. But watch that superior tone of yours, please. Nuncius states that this conversation has stimulated and enriched him. Nuncius says that he will leave a channel for inquiries about his biography and personal qualities open for you, rogue trader.
Okay, I want to read that.
The rank of janitor grants me the right to study their foul anatomy and behavior for the
I want
purposes
to
of
read a Servo
identifying
Skull's
their
biography.
weaknesses. I have personally dissected more than one specimen, and have even preserved specific body parts for further investigation. I research and study their technology to the same end. There is no shame in using our enemies' weapons against them, no matter what some narrow-minded colleagues may say. The mythical kind, shall we say. The subject of my research is an ancient, unusually advanced xeno-civilization. Some among the tech clergy call them Niflimics, believing them to be the first creations of the Omnissiah. Others call them iron anathemas, considering them to be the spawn of abominable intelligence. But the initiated know them as Necrons. And believe me, the hand of the machine god has never touched these monstrous creatures. After more than 1 decade of searching, I have amassed a modest collection of objects that belonged to these Necrons. But I have never succeeded in understanding the purpose of most of them. Many believe that Necrons died out long ago, leaving behind only ruins of black rock. But I do not believe so. They exist still, and they are closer than they seem. I have encountered inconsistencies in my research. Ghost colonies with fresh tracks that match the descriptions of these Xenos from various sources. Adeptus Mechanicus expeditions that plunged into obsidian ruins, never to return. Gaps in the knowledge repositories of individual
Rift
worlds,
is meant to be
as if someone had
open
been
at
trying
this
to hide
point,
information
so
in isolation. All these are unexplained coincidences. But if I analyze the cumulative frequency of the events and the systems in which they occurred, and compare them to the few things I do know, I can detect certain patterns. The ancient Xenos are exhibiting activity. An interesting question. I will answer it with another. Would I be able to tell a layperson of such an encounter without breaking my vows to the cult Mechanicus? This question does not require an answer, just food for thought. That's the beauty of it. I don't know. Allow me to specify. It includes objects of mostly regular forms, cubes, spheres, cylinders, made of unknown black stone or metal. Many are covered in glyphs or patterns that cannot be deciphered. Fascinating trinkets that I have spent years studying, but have never progressed beyond flimsy theories that cannot be confirmed experimentally. Perhaps my approach is fundamentally flawed, or the objects are non-functional. Or perhaps they simply do not want anyone to root out their secrets. It's a mystery. A stimulating mystery. I appreciate your restraint, rogue trader. In my experience, such words directed at me do not constitute a question, but an accusation. I will not attempt to convince you of my righteousness, but I will articulate a few facts that you can use as a basis for your own conclusions. Fact 1. My interest in Xenos is easily mistaken for a proclivity. It is not. I find them no more appealing than I would a cadaver being vivisected to ascertain what sickness ended its existence. They are objects that I study in order to answer a simple question. How can they be destroyed most effectively? Fact 2. Certain species of Xenos exhibit technological proficiency. Their weapons and artifacts possess destructive and utilitarian properties that could elevate the power of the Imperium. In studying these properties, I find ways to translate them to the technologies bestowed upon us by the Machine God. No wicked deed of innovation is committed. I liken this research to the creation of new production patterns. Fact 3, the last. My research is directed solely toward advancing the quest for knowledge and strengthening the Imperium. Though a certain boldness may be inherent to my work, I do observe the dogmas and follow the righteous algorithms of the Cult Mechanicus. Here ends the presentation on my position. I look forward to seeing what new topic of discussion you propose. Splendid! It has been a long time since I last had a worthy opponent. Not including my dearest colleague, of course. So, to the topic. I have never understood why some thinkers present this question as something profound, when the answer is utterly trivial. The meaning of life is determined by a person's position in the hierarchy of the Imperium and where he or she is deployed. But ultimately, what it comes down to is supporting the functioning of the system. The worker produces or processes a resource. The soldier destroys enemies. The governor ensures order and the shipment of tithes. The meaning of my life is to advance the quest for knowledge, thus fulfilling the function granted to me by the Omnissiah. As I said, an utterly unoriginal question. My dearest colleague has accused me of oversimplifying matters. He believes that in trying to convey my point of view, I neglected many of the nuances you set forth in the question, and thus gave a trite answer myself. But he considers the general premise to be correct, albeit riddled with holes. Absolutely. You may perceive that as a cynical view, but I am merely cutting away all that is superfluous. Humans are not simple creatures. I could regale you for hours with the nuances of the structure of the body and consciousness, and cite theosophical and philosophical musings, but it makes no difference. As long as a person fulfills their function, their life has meaning. You are the quintessence of the will of the Imperium. Your purpose in life is to expand it and strengthen its power where other subjects cannot reach. You do not explore the frontier. You are the frontier. Brilliant! You have grasped the very crux of the matter and articulated it with concision. Nuncius, make note of the rogue trader's phrasing, and I will add it to my catalogue of arguments. Am I right in thinking that we have reached a consensus? As am I. I thank you for the interesting discussion, rogue trader. I find our
Okay. Let's... right. Sweet. Let's grab those. Yeah, so that's all our ship upgrades. Okay. Torpedo tube. really anything new. Yes. Demolition. Tech. Athletics. Awareness. Actually, no, so there's no you there. There. Alright, let's head up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey, newcomers! How's this for a warm welcome?
There you
Your
go. He
arrogance
tried
will
to
be
warn
your
me.
downfall. Show them no mercy.
Right. Have to deal with me and my mastiff. ridiculous how many.
I'm not accustomed to being ordered around. Face the navigator's might.
Let's make it quick.
That's why I like her as a sniper. Force them to move around and then hit them for crazy amounts of damage.
I'll see to it personally.
You will.
Fall before my might.
We're going to have a very, very bad time. Back there.
I'm here, maggots. For now.
Just a minor setback.
You lot.
Doubt is for the weak. None can escape the Emperor's judgment.
Out of our way.
You don't frighten me.
My ears are ringing.
Here we
He
go.
went down. Jeez. Just spending his time on the floor.
My vow is to find function successfully terminated.
Yeah, really, I'm just gonna have to. Actually, no, I could just.
Anything else? Be gone. Listen to me, rust buckets.
Jeez.
I always keep my
What
options
advice do
open.
you seek?
There's a lot of things to loot.
I didn't?
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
I've read about this.
Okay. Mechanicus. Opened up for trade. Hold off for now. Anything else?
I always have a backup plan.
Okay. No, changing this thing.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Something detected. Ah, there.
My house would be proud of me.
Is there money to be made?
There. That's everything for around here.
Keep your wits about you.
This place was intended to be merely a hall within the temple, but now a whole city has been squeezed into it.
A rational decision. Ecclesiarchy temples lack the critical functionality that a void station requires, unlike the chapels of the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Wisdom is a catalyst for knowledge. I possess both. Nuncius solved this conundrum.
Let us not dawdle.
Experience.
Well, what do we
Nothing
have
matters
here?
more.
calm things down.
I always keep my options open.
Right.
Trivial, as I prognosticated.
Let's just dropping everything. Everything else is in the way. The only drawback of the mod, I guess. So locking all of the okay.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
The machine god was benevolent to me.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Alright. Well. Sacrifice one of my fingers for that. Oh boy.
Is there money to be made?
Could, like, normally they give you a warning when that's going to happen.
This Explorator is blessed with multifunctionality.
Let us not dawdle.
Where is everything? Okay. I definitely have to save for that thing.
My success is an irrefutable certainty.
Unexpected result.
I always have a backup plan.
The Whispers told me how.
keep my options open.
Cast your eye there.
Jeez. That was,
Keep your wits about you. Is there
This
money to
ocular
be made?
implant was a worthwhile investment.
The Emperor favors me today.
Always keep your eye on the prize. Let us not dawdle.
right.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Yeah, looks like there's just... Okay.
My warp sight reveals something.
Compared to naval service, that was barely
I
a
always
challenge.
keep my options open.
Operation successful.
Fate and fortune.
I'm at your...
I'm restless.
A peculiar thing.
Stop it!
I've faced worse than this.
Faith without deeds is worthless. As the Emperor commands, I act.
A mere pain won't stop me.
There.
I always have a backup plan.
Join. We've got
I will lead us to fortune. This could be an opportunity. Is there money to be made? This is intriguing. Always keep your eye on the prize. Let's not waste time with pleasantries.
Blessed augmetics can replace and enhance vision, motor function, and endurance. Alas, they
I have a nose for profit and a taste for adventure. Let us not dawdle.
Over there.
Duty prevails.
Done yet.
Experience. Nothing matters more.
Nuncius solved this conundrum. Trivial, as I prognosticated.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Nothing's impossible for this old officer. We should deal with this.
Keep your wits about you.
Ready to trade again.
But I will grant none.
Try giving them the easy option. I think I'm just gonna have to sick the dog on them.
Captain.
Oops, I forgot to. Never mind.
On it.
High momentum.
The enemies of the Emperor will be undone! I'll do it.
A dance of blades and shadows. As the tenant. What torments you?
Miscalculations are for commoners.
I think everyone
I don't make
is
mistakes.
needing all of them.
I make profitable learning.
Your friend's skull that you keep beside you, priest. It serves as your eternal tribute to the Undying One, does it not?
Lucius is not a skull, but a highly sophisticated construct, and my dearest colleague. Your faith distorts your perception of reality, and you see death even where it is absent, Kibella.
Interesting bit between them.
Wisdom is a catalyst for knowledge. I possess both.
Your arrogance will be your downfall.
Crush them.
Castle there. Bars are right in the middle of it all.
Witness the fury of House Orcelio. Isn't this a job for another fire painted black? If I may?
Well, can I say you messed that one up, didn't you?
Let's get to it.
Not this Scryer's job. That is not my destiny. What an unfortunate turn of fate.
High momentum.
A tactically sound approach. I'm not interested. Reduced to dust!
The motive force shields me. The machine spirit.
Ouch. That explains why he has two guns.
Nothing I can't mend. Here we go.
God Emperor, move through me. Be the fire in my heart. Doubt is for the weak.
Running binary code is significant value.
I shall not.
Oh, up there.
Emperor, give me strength. Isn't this a job for the serfs? I'm not accustomed as duty demands.
There.
Beg for mercy,
Oh,
and I will grant none.
They
Always
fear to
keep
look
your
at
eye
me
on the
because of
prize.
my appearance.
Fate and fortune favor the bold.
Okay. Guess it's all there.
Let us not dawdle.
The dime will be as slippery as a snake, like any seasoned operator. I don't need any voices in my head to predict that.
Some leaders with an iron fist. But Takara isn't.
There. See. Right, what? So we can just slam with the shield as well as I think. Okay, do that. Oh, I'm trying to...
there money to be made?
Okay, nothing else there.
Your arrogance will be your downfall.
And that's why she's just so useful. Just our early warning system.
Isn't this a job for the serfs? Battlefields are always drowned in scarlet. Me? If you insist, Lord Captain. I am a navigator.
Yep. You're a navigator, but also my sniper. So...
Will do.
Worse.
Let's make it quick.
I'm here, maggot.
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones. Indeed. I took care of this one.
Guided by faith.
What is a prayer?
Follow my lead.
God is gonna do absolutely nothing.
Activate calculated fury algorithm. The Omnisire knows the Omnisire condemns you.
Initiating spatial relocation.
Trust death is a blessing. Whisper.
I know how to take risks. Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Let's just go back in and see if he has something to say about that. I do not appreciate that. How it happened.
Keep your wits about you. It still says there's something. Always keep your eye on the prize. Probably should have spoken to him first. That's probably how I was meant to complete that. I always have a backup plan.
Alright, no, just go and check again for that. There's a
Attention to detail is the key to success.
Okay, let's just go back here first.
I always keep my options open.
I've seen a lot of innocent people. I've yet to see someone remain so after an interrogation. I'll take it from here. What is it, rogue trader? Remember.
Let's not waste time with pleasantries. I have a nose for profit and a taste for adventure. Is there money to be made?
Thank you for responding to my request, Rogue Trader. I'm here on the orders of Marshal Strax to ask for your help. We are in pursuit of a tithe thief. We must board the thief's ship, execute the heretic for his crimes, and return the sacred tribute to the protection of the Adeptus Arbites. The reward for your assistance in this matter will be the thief's frigate, the Heartless, which we will capture in the course of the mission. Glato, speak! Not every cybermastiff receives a personal greeting from a rogue trader. Such an honor warrants a response. I did, and I was rebuffed. As Rogue Trader Winterscale rightly pointed out, from the moment of the tithe's collection, responsibility for it transfers to the Adeptus Arbites. He also noted that the loss of a world is not an inconsiderable detriment to his protectorate, and he has no intention of expending resources to recover something that no longer belongs to him. Under similar circumstances in the past, our arrangement would have obliged us to turn to Lady Theodora. She was a key figure in supporting the Lex Imperialis in the Coronis Expanse. Captain Sargona and his flagship, the Heartless, are concealed in the Mundus Nullius. The exact location can only be determined with your ship's augurs when we enter the system.
We'll swap in a moment.
The Heartless is escorted by a small flotilla. You'll need to neutralize it in order to capture the frigate. Our BT strike teams will land on the upper deck, while your boarding party handles the remaining bays. My squad of arbitrators will take on the most difficult and dangerous part of the operation. The ultimate goal is to capture the captain's bridge and interrogate and execute Sargona. The Heartless is the enemy flagship. It has been corrupted with inhuman technology, but you have the necessary resources to purge it of Xenos filth and make it serve the Imperium once more. Even if you don't wish to own a ship previously crewed by pirates, you will have prospective buyers lining up to take it off your hands. I'm no expert on ships, but when I questioned the captains on Footfall about the Heartless, they were almost salivating as they listed its virtues.
Purifying and removing a ship equipped with blasphemous modifications from the hands of apostates is the sacred duty of all servants of the Omnissiah and of the Emperor.
I will only note that the xenotech equipment is to be destroyed, not studied comprehensively, Magos Explorator.
Oh, he doesn't have them.
Sign. Transfer the latest data. Bryce. Hologram. This one has the complete file. He is a former privateer and a fugitive psycho. At one time, he was involved in the coal trade and the supply of Xenos mercenaries, but his pirate habits got the better of him, and he started robbing his associates. Now, even among the criminal rabble, he is known as a nasty piece of work. Something of an achievement, you will agree. Zargona is cunning, cruel, and unpredictable. Shortly after the fall of Rakad Manoris, I questioned the Liege of Footfall. He supplied me with exhaustive information about Zargona and his ship, and gave the arbitrators full access to the docks. I suspect Takara's compliance stems from some bad blood between him and Zargona. Scum eating scum. Nothing new there. As you wish. The task is relatively simple. Kill all enemies we encounter, and not let them kill us. Zargona must be taken alive for questioning, but I and my team will handle that. There is one other thing. The following call signs will be used for Vox communication during the mission. You will be RT-1, and I will be DX-1. I also request you use RBT sign language throughout. Non-verbal commands are faster than speaking, and will allow us to catch our target unawares. Here is a short list. Indeed, one never truly leaves the RBTs. I meant no disrespect to your skills, but I prefer to err on the side of caution. DX-1 means I am in command of the Delta Xi Squad. It's one of our standard designations for strike teams in the Expanse. RT-1 is you, the rogue trader and leader of the Rho Theta Squad. For a short mission like this one, these identifiers should suffice. Good. Do you have any further questions? No. I'm still on mission, and in your absence, my subordinates and I will be checking weapons and finalizing tactics for the assault. In other words, we will be wholly occupied with preparations. Acknowledged. Zargona is already dead. He just doesn't know it yet.
Let us not dawdle.
Let's save up, and that will be that for the day. Still got more to do on this station, so that will be a matter tomorrow. Right, there we go. Night.